Hey guys, my name is Naguura, and today we're going to talk about Korthia and what the most efficient way is to get as much relic fragments for the Archivist Codex reputation as possible. I will talk about everything you can do in Korthia for reputation for Archivist Codex specifically. All of this is min-maxing, so keep in mind that you don't have to do any of this. You can check out Archivist Codex on Wowhead and see what you can actually gain from that reputation and see if that's actually something you want. Doing every single thing every single day only speeds up the reputation gain a little bit. Even if you don't do all of this, you're still going to be able to reach the tier 6, the last chapter of this reputation, pretty quickly. You're not going to be that far behind to others who do everything. Now, I will divide this guide into one-time activities first, and then into daily activities later that I can repeat multiple times. And then at the very end, I'm going to go into tips and tricks on things that you can do in Korthia. There's also going to be chapters at the bottom below that you can check out. And I will also link a Google Docs below where I listed all of this in written form. I would appreciate if you guys watch the video anyway, because there's also things that I'm going to be saying that are not in the guide. But I understand that this video is going to be pretty long. So if you want to check out the written guide for, double checking, triple checking things, then that's totally up to you and you can do that for sure. But let's get into it. So first of all, we're going to talk about the one-time quests / fragments that you can loot only one single time that give a pretty huge portion of reputation. There's relics that you can pick up. You can see it in the picture here on the map. These don't show on the normal map, but you can see them on the minimap once you're close. So you basically just go to those locations, you will see an exclamation mark on the minimap, and then you go there and you can pick it up. Most of us probably already have done this if you already started in Korthia, and if not, then you should at least double check those locations to see if there's a quest that you can pick up or not. Then there's one-time treasures, and you can only open those with the 4 keys you can buy from the Archivist Codex vendor at tier 2. So once you reach tier 2, there's 4 keys you can buy. You should buy them. They're totally worth it. And this is the location of those chests with the keys you can buy. So make sure you go to those locations and open those treasures once. This is a one-time thing again. You can only buy the keys once and you can only loot the chest once. Then there are 4 quests within the Rift that you can pick up only one single time. I'm going to explain the Rift later. I'm going to also tell you other things you can do in the Rift. But these 4 locations here have a quest, and it's the same as the quest that I talked about before. So you have to go close, and then you see the exclamation mark on the minimap. You don't see them on the world map. So you actually have to go there and pick them up. Then there are 10 one-time treasures you can pick up throughout Korthia. They're tracked by the achievement Treasures of Korthia. I won't show all of those because it would take way too long, but you can check the achievement in game and see which ones you're missing, and then you can go to Wowhead and look at that specific treasure, and surely there's going to be information on where you will find it. Then there's a one-time quest that requires you to gather 20 rune chits. The quest is picked up randomly throughout smaller treasures around Korthia, and the rune chits as well. They will also be just randomly dropped from treasures that you loot around Korthia. Now I'm going to talk about items that you should be buying from Archivist Codex and also from Devs Advanced that will increase the relic fragment / reputation gain throughout your daily clears. So number 1, you should buy Trained Grommet Carrier. This is already available at tier 1 reputation. This is basically a pet. You only need to buy this one time. Even though it does say unique 20, I assume that's just a mistake by Blizzard. You only need to buy it once because it doesn't get consumed. Then you click on it and you spawn a pet. This pet will sometimes find treasures that you wouldn't see otherwise that have relic fragments in them. So just make sure you always have this pet out. Then for tier 2, there's something called Reliquary Sight. This is account-wide, so you can buy it on an alt and it works on your main. Once you have this, you basically have a buff on you that you see mobs with like a purple glow, and once you kill them, you loot relic fragments. It's going to be non-rare mobs that loot those relic fragments. It's capped per day as well, so at some point you won't see them anymore. That's when you know that you have looted all of them. And then you will also sometimes see these stealth mobs. They're called gatherers. They look like tiny raptors, and you can even see them through walls as well if they spawn. They're stealthed, and you can only see them with the buff. Once you attack them, they will start running away. So you need to have a decent amount of damage to actually kill them before they actually just completely disappear. So just make sure you're not like in tank spec or healer spec whenever you attack them. Then you also want to buy the 4 keys, as I mentioned above, that unlock those 4 chests one time that I talked about before. Then at tier 3, there's nothing you want to buy. At tier 4, there's also nothing you want to buy unless you want to have the Rift keys. Those are actually used if you actually use them, so you have to buy multiple of them if you want them. Otherwise, there's nothing to buy on rank 4. On tier 5, there's something called Research Report, Ancient Shrines. That one allows you to click on swords throughout Korthia to be able to reach certain points that you wouldn't be able to reach otherwise, and you can loot relics there. The position of those swords is here, as you can see in the map. And the way the swords look like is like this. So basically they're like semi-transparent, and you can just click on them, and then you will spawn this like pathway that leads you to a relic. Then for the Dev's Advanced vendor, there's only one item so far I noticed that actually gives you anything for the Archivist Codex reputation, and it's called Vault Anima Tracker. You only need to buy this one time, and then you will be allowed to see something called Anima Vessels. These Anima Vessels are treasures that sometimes drop relic fragments as well. And those vessels are in the Old Maw, actually, not in Korthia. Some of them are inside the Rift, and some are in the normal realm, in the Old Maw. The ones in the normal realm are close to like Assault, and the known locations for the ones in the Rift are those. There might be more than those, but these are the ones that I've known so far. Some of them give you relics, so it would be beneficial to pick them up if you want to. Now let's go to daily activities. I'm going to mention every single small thing that you can do daily, but keep in mind that some of this actually gives you more reputation and some less. At the very end, before I go into tips and tricks, I will tell you what the best way would be to get as much reputation and fragments as possible if you have very limited time. But first, I'm going to talk about every small thing. Every day you should kill rares around Korthia. I do recommend using Tomcat, the add-on, or handy notes, or both, to track which rares you have already killed, because that will be very helpful. Then there's random treasures around Korthia. Every day you can loot 10 big chests. They're called mushrooms or moss-worn chests, and you can loot 5 small chests like pile of bones, relic caches, shard hide stashes. And those small chests are not actually visible on the minimap. Actually, they're not visible by like arrows. Once you are there, you can see them because they have like a purple glow around them, but you don't actually see them on the minimap, so you need to look out for them. Then there's so many small locations for these treasures that I'm not going to mention it. I recommend just looking for them when you do other rares. Like basically when you do activities in Korthia, I would just pick up the chest as you go. So once you killed all the rares and you looted all the treasures, which as I said are daily kept, then you should kill the stealth gatherers, as many as you see. The stealth gatherers are the ones that I talked about earlier with the reliquary side. Then kill all the non-elite mobs that have a purple glow until you don't see them anymore. Look out for powerful moss-worn portals. They spawn at locations, and you can, if you're close to a location, you will actually get a message, and it will be really visible on the map. Like you will really see it. It's similar to Island Expeditions when you got like a big spawn of artifact power nodes. If you guys remember, it was like a really big animation into the sky, and it's very similar there. It's like a really huge animation, you will see it, and the faster you're there, the better, because it will spawn waves of small mobs, and all of the small mobs actually drop relic fragments. So if you're there fast and you're tagging as many mobs as possible, then you can loot up to like 150, 200 relic fragments just from the small mobs before the big mob even spawn afterwards. So I do recommend trying to look out for those and go there quickly. Another thing that I noted is once you kill the rare mob that spawns out of this portal at the very end, you won't be able to loot the small mobs again from those moss-worn portals. So if you have a lot of time and you see a portal spawn and you don't manage to get there until the very end, until the rare mob spawns, then you cannot tag them up. Like just don't attack it and then try to get there faster the next time. So if you're all day in Korthia and you're gonna do everything anyway, then just skip them if you're not there fast enough to be able to increase your relic fragments loot next time around. Because then maybe you're there quicker and you have an easier time tagging everything. Then let's talk about the Rift. Now the Rift is a bit more complicated. Basically, there's Rift portals in Korthia. You can enter those and then you're in like another realm basically. It's the same like area, but you're like in a parallel universe basically. There's some things inside the Rift that you can do that gives you quite a lot of reputation and relic fragments, and it's really important to actually go there. But first of all, I'm going to talk about something that makes all of this a lot easier, because the only way to actually enter those Rift portals is to have a Rift key. And those rift keys randomly drop around Korthia by looting chests or rares, but they're really rare, and sometimes you might not have any rift keys at all. So the other way to actually enter the rift at all is by having a collapsing rift stone. And a collapsing rift stone is something that you gain from a quest that you can do every single day inside the rift. Basically, Venari is in the old mall, you can see it right here, and she will give you a quest called Full of Surprises. And once you have the quest, you need to find a chest. Once you pick up the chest, you need to basically you get a chain attached to your character and you need to carry it back to Venari. And once you carry it back, you will be able to loot the chest and you will include a collapsing rift stone, also possibly a toy and relic fragments. And this collapsing rift stone basically allows you to open up a rift portal in a normal realm, and you can use this anywhere. You can use it in the old mall or in Korthia, and you will be able to enter the rift with this collapsing rift stone. And not only you can enter, but also everyone else in your group or even raid. There's up to 39 people you can bring inside the rift with this collapsing rift stone. So if you know this, you can do this every single day and you get a collapsing rift stone every day, and then you don't have to worry about these rift portals anymore. You don't have to worry about getting a rift key, a normal one that drops around the world. One thing to note about the collapsing rift stone is that the person that opens the rift actually closes the rift once they enter. So if you want to do this in a group or in a raid, then you need to make sure that the person that opened it goes in last, because then it closes afterwards. Yeah, so because this is a daily quest, you can do this every single day. You just need to have a person that opens the rift portal for everybody else. Let's say you do this with your guild. So one person opens the rift, everyone goes inside, does the daily, and gets a rift stone. So now 39 people, or up to 39 people, have a rift stone that they can use. And then the next day, someone else can open the portal and everyone can get inside again and get this rift stone. So you can basically have lots and lots of rift stone runs if you use this quest every single day. That out of the way, now let's talk about what you can actually do inside the rift. Now there's rift chests that you can only loot inside the rifts. The known locations that I know of are those. Keep in mind that there might also be other locations. As far as I'm aware, there's only 4 chests you can loot in Korthia, in the rift. I've never seen more than that. I've never seen more than 4 chests, but those 4 chests always spawned in other locations, and they award a lot of relic fragments. They're actually really worth it. If you have looted those rift chests, then there's also rares inside the rift. There's 2 types of rares. There's normal rares that are inside the rift that you can kill. 4 of them are in the old maw, and they actually don't reward relic fragments as far as I'm aware. But there's one of those type of rares in the Vault of Secrets. His name is Observer Yorick, and this one actually does drop relic fragments, but it has a lot of HP and it actually does also a lot of damage, so you need to have multiple people to actually help you out. I think you can already do with 2 people, but yeah, just keep in mind it does a lot of damage and it has a lot of HP. And then there's another type of rare inside the rift. 3 rares, they're all in Korthia, 2 on the mainland and 1 in the Vault of Secrets, and they basically can be pulled out of the rift. So a person needs to be inside the rift, attack that certain rare, and then it will get pulled out. The person that attacks it also gets pulled out of the rift, so keep that in mind. Maybe you want to go and collect some chests first and then pull out the rare at the end, unless you've already done that. So once it's pulled out, everyone else can attack it, and then you can loot relic fragments from it. So only one person has to do this for the rest of your group, for example. Now there's also something called Anima Vessels in the old maw. I talked about those before. If you have the reputation bonus from Dev's Advance, once you're friendly, if you buy that item, you can see the Anima Vessels. They're in the old maw, and they can award relic fragments. And just go back in the video if you skipped it when I talk about those Anima Vessels, and you can see the locations of where they are and how to loot them. Alright, so those are all the daily activities you can do, but of course this takes a lot of time. If you want to do all of those, if you want to pick all of the Anima Vessels in the rift, you want to do all of the rares, then you would need multiple rift keys. You would just walk around all day killing the gatherers and walk around all day looting all the chests and the rares. So if you don't have a lot of time, then what I recommend doing for a fast sweep is basically, okay, so there's 2 ways you can do fast sweeps. One fast sweep would be if you have a friend that has a rift stone, then I would recommend that you ask your friend to open up the rift for you. Then you go into the rift and loot the 4 chests in the mainland of Korthia. And then afterwards, you can just do one sweep around Korthia, just kill some rares that you see and loot some chests, and you're basically done, because the chests in the rift actually give a huge portion of relic fragments. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. If you don't have a friend that can open a rift for you, then I recommend to just walk around Korthia and do your, rares that you see, loot the chests that you see, kill the purple mobs that you see, kill the gatherers that you see. Just do like one sweep and hope that you loot a rift key to be able to enter a rift's portal. And if you looted one, then I would stop, go into the rift, loot those 4 chests, and then go out and you're done. Now, sometimes you can be unlucky and not get a rift key quickly, so it might take a while. It might take some rares for you to kill, some chests to loot before you get that. But I would say that it's actually worth it because of the huge amount of relic fragments you can get from those chests in the rift. There's one more thing to notice, that once you reach tier 4, you can actually buy the rift stones from the vendor. So I guess if you don't have people who have those portals that they can open for you, then once you reach tier 3, just go and buy a rift key and just enter the rift, loot the 4 chests, and you're done basically. Everything else is just extra because it's RNG of how much relic fragments you can actually drop from a rare and from a chest. So sometimes you might get really lucky and get a lot, and sometimes you get barely anything. So it's really just like a gamble of how much time you're investing and how much you get in return. Sometimes you might just be spending 2 hours in Korthia looting stuff, looting chests and killing 1 or 2 rares, and then you basically gained nothing, while another person only kills 1 rare or loots 2 chests and they have more than you. So when it comes to time investment, if you have limited time, I really would just focus on looting the chests in a rift and just doing 1 or 2 sweeps depending on how much time you have, where you kill rares and loot chests. Now I'm gonna quickly go over some super fast tips and tricks that maybe you didn't know about yet. Now there's a Torghast chest that can be looted daily. It looks exactly like a chest in Torghast with the 3 chains around it. And Handy Notes actually shows all the possible locations for the keys, because there's 3 keys you need to pick up around the chest and then you can actually open it. As I said, Handy Notes shows those locations where it could be. One of the keys is actually a little bit bugged because it's really hard to see. So if you have a key inside this blue water, there's a hole with the blue poop / water in it, and it might be underneath the water, so it's not visible. This is a clip on how you actually pick it up. So you have to move your camera, and I would suggest to use your mouse. Just move your mouse around until you can find the cogwheel, and then you can click on it. The weekly reward for killing the Tormentors event is 50 soul cinders, 200 Stygia, and then you also get reputation for Venari, and you can also get a mount. So you should definitely do this once a week, but if you do it multiple times a week, you can actually also gain Death's Advanced reputation more than just once. So if you want to farm Death's Advanced reputation, you could do this event every 2 hours, and will always give you, or it is a chance to give you Death's Advanced reputation, even if you already have done it once. Then once you're inside the rift, you can actually use Wormhole Generator, Cipher of Relocation, and Hearthstone if you have set it to Korthia, and you will be able to move quicker around the rift because you only have 15 minutes inside the rift, and therefore using these items to go around quicker is actually really beneficial. Alright, so I think that's all I know about Korthia and about min-maxing the reputation for Archivist Codex. Surely there's gonna be some things that I will figure out in the next couple of days. The document that I linked below underneath in the description, that one I will be updating with things that I learned throughout my Korthia adventures. So just make sure you check out that one for any sort of additions. I will probably edit under the extra tips and tricks. Otherwise, it's going to be confusing. So anything that I will be adding from now on that I haven't mentioned in this video, I will be adding under extra tips and tricks, okay? So you guys can just always open the document, check the tips and tricks, and see if there's anything new that you maybe didn't know about yet. All right, so that's it. I hope there's literally everything that you haven't known yet about Korthia, and any small tips that you learned is already worth it to me. I hope you like this guide. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to this channel to see videos like these in the future as well if you're interested. Also check out my stream over at twitch.tv/Naguura. I will answer any sort of questions that you have there as well. And you can, of course, always ask stuff in the comments below. I've been getting quite a lot of comments, and I didn't manage to get to answer them all because I was quite busy with the patch, but I'm going to try to answer as many questions as possible whenever I find the time. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a nice rest of your day. I hope you have fun in Korthia 9.1. Hopefully the raid and the dungeon is going to be nice, and Season 2 as well that we got next week, because just Korthia farming every day is not like the best content I've seen so far. So let's hope for some nice content next week. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!